So the prosecutor in former President Trump's election interference case in Georgia is set to face accusations of misconduct. At a hearing that we may be able to watch, Fani Willis accused of having an affair with the married lawyer whom she put in charge of the Trump case, and using taxpayer money then that he was paid by, I think $600,000, something to that effect, then they went on vacations together. So that is according to an attorney for one of the former president's co-defendants. Willis has not denied the affair, but she is suggesting that the claims are based on race. Watch this.
I appointed 3 special counsel, as is my right to do, paid them all the same hourly rate. They only attacked one. I hired one white woman, a good personal friend and great lawyer, a superstar, I tell you. I hired one white man, brilliant, my friend, and a great lawyer. And I hired one black man, another superstar, a great friend, and a great lawyer. Oh Lord, they gonna be mad when I call them out on this nonsense. First thing they say, oh, she gonna play the race card now. But no, God, isn't it them who's playing the race card when they only question one?
Very interesting. So she had a lot more to say in moments. We'll take a look. Alina Habba, attorney for former President Trump, who was indicted on 13 counts in the Georgia case. But first, with the backstory here, senior correspondent Steve Harrigan reporting live from Atlanta with more on this. Hi, Steve.
Martha, this story is getting bigger by the day. It's also getting more and more personal and even ugly. Right now, it is a string of accusations from a defense lawyer, and those accusations all focus on the district attorney, Fani Willis. She's in charge, of course, of prosecuting former President Trump and 14 others for election interference here in Georgia. She stands accused of hiring her married lover as a prosecutor, of paying him more than $650,000, and that the two of them misused some of that money to go on vacations together. That prosecutor, Nathan Wade, is in the middle of a bitter divorce, and court records just released appear to indicate that he purchased plane tickets for himself and Willis to go to San Francisco and Miami. We're going to know a lot more about the relationship between these two. We might even see it all aired on television February 15th. That's when the judge has set the date for a hearing to see if this was an improper relationship. This could lead to a number of outcomes. It could delay the trial for months. It could even throw out the case against Trump entirely.
If these allegations are true, could lead to a whole host of things that the DA doesn't want to happen. She could be removed from the case. She could be held to have a conflict of interest. The case could potentially be dismissed if it's so structurally unsound that it amounts to a violation of due process.
And Willis still has not come out one way or the other to say that she was in a romantic relationship or not with her prosecutor. Martha, back to you.
Steve, thank you very much. On this and other topics, let's bring in Alina Habba, an attorney for former President Trump. Alina, good to have you with us today. You know, I mean, the affair in and of itself is not what appears to be material here. The question is whether or not he was hired with taxpayer money to do a job that he's not qualified to do based on his experience, and whether or not the two of them benefited from the money that comes from the job that she gave him. What do you think about this?
I think they've got their hands full over there. I have a different concern as being one of the president's attorneys, and obviously I'm not on this case. So I just see this. I see what you just played, her speaking in a church or whatever that venue is, and not addressing the fact that the political motivation she had, her friend, alleged boyfriend, whatever it is, now being paid and is involved here on a politically motivated election interference case that we know President Trump did nothing wrong. And these cases were brought in a very timely manner. We've seen it time and time again. I think there's a general concern in this country right now, and this sheds light on that, Martha, in that we're appointing these individuals to positions of power where they have access to taxpayer money, and they're selecting cases to become more famous, not do the right thing. And then we see this slew of corruption that eventually comes down, including this story. And it's a complete revelation that Americans should be used to at this point, but we have to clean up. It's disgusting. And if the allegations are true, she's going to have her hands full with ethics issues and other things.
Yeah, as you point out, this case was brought by a co-defendant of the former President Trump. And that is what has kind of opened the gate here to this question. Jonathan Turley has said that he thinks that Willis and Wade, the man that our viewers see on the right-hand side of the screen, should go, but that the Georgia election case would likely still go on. Does that is that the way you see it?
No, I've said this from the beginning, from before this, and I hate the shiny ball theory. I don't agree with Mr. Turley on there, and I think he's great. But on this, I have to say, I have seen this case, if you look at when they started it, as I just mentioned, if you look at the motivation, if you look at the fact that they campaign on it, it's much like the case I have in New York with Letitia James. This case is tainted from the start. It should never have been brought. My client did absolutely nothing wrong. And the fact of the timing, who brought it, state level, never mind all the other things that we're seeing come out that show absolute corruption, it's all planned. It's election interference. The case should not stand. It should be completely wiped away and dismissed.
Okay, I want to get your reaction to this last night from former President Trump with Sean Hannity on the issue of immunity. Watch this, and then a quick thought on the other side.
If you take immunity away from the president, so important, you will have a president that's not going to be able to do anything. Obama dropped missiles, and they ended up hitting a kindergarten or a school or the apartment house. A lot of people were killed. Well, if that's the case, he's going to end up being indicted when he leaves office. He meant well. If they don't have immunity, no president is going to act.
So do you think that the Supreme Court is likely to find, though, that immunity is absolute for a president? You know, in this case, the Obama case, it was a national security effort that went awry and I think, you know, is terrible. And these are the kind of awful things that happen in war. Or in President Trump's case, could that be seen as a separate kind of issue where he was trying to win the election and do whatever it took to prove that?
There's a couple things here, Martha. Number one, absolute immunity, presidential immunity, has existed prior to President Trump. And I want the American public to understand that this has existed for every president prior since the law was created to create a shelter for presidents, sitting presidents, to do what they need to do for the nation without fear of prosecution civilly and criminally. What we are now seeing is a fear of the president winning in 2024 and cleaning up the mess. So they're bringing it. And now I have to tell you, immunity needs to stand. They don't need to create it. They need to keep it. That is all we need.
All right, we'll see what happens. Alina Habba, thank you. Attorney for President Trump, good to see you today. Thank you very much for being here.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.